That's what we're talking about on the programme now. I'm warning you now. If you're eating your dinner, just stop eating for a little while. All right, I suggest you do. Because the UK is dealing with more bed bugs as a direct result of this summer's hot weather. Now, experts are telling us that the problem is worse in densely populated cities, so it's still going to happen in Cornwall. Warmer temperatures shorten the bed bug breeding cycle. Now, the bugs are increasingly carried by us from public places such as cinemas, offices and public transport into our homes. David Cain is the MD of Bed Bugs Limited. Yeah, there is a firm called that. It's a specialist bed bug extermination firm. He's been an expert on bed bugs for 15 years, which makes him pretty well the world's longest-serving dedicated professional. You want to talk bed bugs? Here you go.
Bed bugs are an exposure pest. They live on human blood. We pick them up from places that we stay or come into contact with. It used to be very common for people to pick them up in hotels and while they were travelling. Increasingly, we're starting to find them cropping up on public transport, in cinemas, all manner of places that people spend periods of time stationary.
Right. Can I actually physically see them?
Oh, absolutely. One of the myths is that people think and get them confused with dust mites and think they're microscopic. A freshly hatched bedbug, when it comes out of its egg, is about 2 millimetres in length, and a fully fed adult is about 15 millimetres in length. So they're perfectly visible for people if they go looking. The problem is we've forgotten to go looking.
Right, OK, so this is worrying me. So when I go to bed tonight, what should I be doing? Because, as you've said, they're not just beds, but I suppose you're going to get more in beds, are you?
It's more likely to be in a domestic setting in your bed, because that's the item of furniture that you use more than anything, but sometimes people get them on their sofas as well. So when you get home tonight, I would suggest you ask yourself the question, when was the last time I gave my bed and sleeping area a good clean? And then start pulling the bed, pulling the mattress off the frame, have a good look, get the vacuum cleaner out, clean up any dirt and debris that's there, and if you see any live insects, any cast-off skins of insects, or any little black dots, which are their fecal traces, you may have a bedbug problem.
Oh, for goodness sake. Look, this is pretty horrible. We're talking to David Cain on BBC Radio Cornwall, the MD of Bed Bugs Limited. I mean, in an average bed, if I had an infestation then, God forbid I do, how many are we talking about?
Well, some people can react to a single bed bug, and it's quite traumatic for them for various reasons. At the other end of the spectrum, one of the worst cases we've seen in the UK had a gentleman oblivious to the fact that he was being fed on by over 120,000 insects.
Seriously? They feed on you?
Yes, they come out of their hiding place, they crawl up close to you, they stick their needly mouth part into your skin, and they withdraw a couple of microlitres of blood.
So the best way to get rid of them, I'm laughing, but I'm itching at the same time. This is disgusting. I must apologise to our listeners in BBC Radio Cornwall land. I am physically itching now. Thank you for that, David. So you just say hoover them up and that does it?
No, I mean, if you have a significant problem, then you need to understand how it's happened in the first place. So calling in someone with a little bit more experience than yourself to help you tackle it, or doing an awful lot of reading and research online to make sure that you know how to tackle it correctly.
So where do they come from then?
Oh, all manner of places. Originally, they lived in caves alongside man, and as we've moved out and developed our society, right up until the 1930s and 40s, most of the homes in the UK were infected by bedbugs. Then we had a huge drive in education to say, you only have bedbugs if you're dirty because we've got new DDT, shamed everyone into getting treated, and the problem has crept back into society. They're very resistant to insecticides, and everyone still associates them with dirt when in fact they have nothing to do with it whatsoever.
So we're talking bed bugs with David Cain. David, look, this is a worry, because I'm told the warmer weather which we've had has made things even worse.
Well, absolutely. Insects, their ability to breed and the time it takes for them to breed and develop is dictated by temperature. So the temperatures we had in the heatwave period basically meant that their reproductive cycle reduced for the egg hatching time from about 14 days down to about 7. So all of a sudden you've got a supercharging of the population, which means more bed bugs out there to be introduced to other people, and the problems that people have got have suddenly spiked and got worse.
How long do they live for?
No one's exactly sure, but a figure of about 18 months seems to be a reasonable number. But across that period of time, they could have laid 500 plus eggs. So the problem very quickly ratchets up, and the population almost doubles every month.
So for our listeners in Cornwall tuned in this lunchtime, what advice would you have for them, David?
Be nice to your bed, inspect it and clean it on a monthly basis, educate yourself about problems like bed bugs, and avoid contact in the first place.
Just disgusting, isn't it? I must apologise. We'll have a chat to Malcolm in St Austell about bad hotel experiences. So I'm throwing this out there. I mean, there is this assumption that you're dirty if you have bed bugs. We've heard that's not the case. But it makes me think you're probably more likely to have bed bugs, aren't you, if a lot of people share the same bed? Are you?